Do you have enough depth at tight end? I don't think you have enough depth there either. So you don't have enough depth at tight end, and you don't have enough depth at wideout. Okay? No one has enough depth at tight end. You have nobody. If Goddard gets hurt, you have nothing. Before I get to Garry Cobb here, the first three questions that we're asking here before we get to training camp tomorrow. I mean, I think these are legitimate questions. We got a boatload more, and I'm going to ask Garry Cobb these from Fox 29. These questions now, we're going to go back over them. Let's bring our friend in from Fox 29 in Philadelphia, and tomorrow the Eagles report to training camp. And I would say this, Garry, do you think this football team, in your opinion, do you think this team can be better than a year ago's team?
I think they can be better. Yeah, I think they can be better. But I think they come into the season maybe with them a little ahead of them because they've got some more experienced players at different positions. Now, we'll see whether these guys are able to rise above, where that team was. Now, of course, on the offensive line, they got to they're making a change, at the right guard spot. So, Isaac Seumalo had been there for how many? 5-6 years?
Yeah.
They had everybody that was on the offensive line had been there. So they were ahead of where they were. Now, we could look back and say, well, boom, maybe they've taken a step ahead of them a little bit. But, you got that offensive line there. And then, of course, the running back position, even though we get on Miles Sanders, he had a very good year last year.
1,300 yards. And,
yeah.
Garry, that goes into here. I got a bunch of questions, and I want to go with what you're saying here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to talk about the talent of the running back position, but I'm going to ask you these 7 questions here. And I'm going to start with where you were going with running back. I'm not going to talk about talent, what you think of them, what they mean to the offense, this and that. Do you believe with the collection of running backs, and especially the 2 guys that are the headliners, and Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift, do you think this running back room holds up 17 weeks?
Now, see, boy.
Nothing to do with talent, Garry. Not how they're going to use them. Do they hold up?
If I got to look at that and just look at that, I would have to say no. Because Penny and Swift, their history is no. They have not been able to stay healthy, Now, I know those other guys can, get in there. And because of that offensive line, they could probably do a decent job because, they're going to be holes to run through and things. So, but they're planning on being better, but those guys got to stay healthy. And even though I think they can stay healthy, I don't know them well enough. I looked at history and they haven't been. So I would have give the nod to last year's group being a little better.
Absolutely. How about this one? Is Quez Watkins the number 3 wide receiver? And what I mean by that is I'm not even talking about him making catches.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this. Say you lose for a significant period of time, A.J. Brown or Devontae.
Yeah.
Do you think this football team wins the NFC East with Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins as your wideouts, or A.J. Brown and Quez Watkins as your wideout? If that's your number 3 guy, are you confident that he could pick up the mail there and they have enough depth at that position? Is he the number 3 guy?
Woo, that's quite a question. He got to show me, man. He has not shown me that yet. He has not shown me that he can be that guy. He's been disappointing. We all know he's got the talent to do it, but the confidence and all that to step in there, make the tough catches, 3rd down plays, to come, get open and make a tough catch. Can he do that? Part of this game is injuries. So
and
he's got
for anyone to think they're going to have the health they had a year ago is insane.
Yeah, that's not reasonable. I mean, because the NFL, it's not a matter of is somebody going to get hurt. It's who is going to get hurt,
And when.
and how bad is it going to be?
And when. Here's another one.
Yep.
Do the Eagles have enough depth at tight end?
I think so. I've liked what I've seen so far of them. Now, with them getting hurt last year, I don't think everybody's going to get hurt. So,
yeah,
if they got the other guys healthy, they've shown that they can play with whoever at tight end, because they did it last year. So they have proven it there. Now, of course, they're much better with a healthy Dallas Goedert. I mean, he's another weapon. But they can go without him because, like I said, last year he got banged up. You never knew it. They had all these weapons, and they've got a lot. And so with the fact that you're adding Swift, Swift adds, well, really both of them. Swift is a complete back who's tremendous coming out of the backfield. He'll kill you on those screens, the one-on-one routes. So they got the potential to be even better at running back, but can these guys stay healthy? And then Penny is a physical back who's probably more physical than the other guys they've had, but can he stay healthy? They got the potential there to be better.
How about this, though, Gary? Do you think that Dallas Goedert's injury prone?
No, I wouldn't say that because he hasn't been hurt a lot.
Okay.
He hasn't been hurt a lot. So
who do you think starts at right guard?
I've heard people say all kinds of things. But I'm going to say, I think the kid, Cam Jurgens, the fact is he's got more experience. He's a smart player to begin with. He's a center. He's been there working with that whole group and everything. So I got to give the nod to him. I know this kid's coming in. He's bigger. He plays, tackle and everything. But I'm going with Jurgens. I think he's the guy that's going to get it.
Gary, tell the folks how important 1 year experience is for a player to be there, especially when you've got players like Sayamalo, Kelsey, and Lane Johnson, and you're watching and you're listening to a guy like Stoutland when you're in the building versus a guy that's just coming in and learning how to be a pro versus learning that you are a pro now and trying to move the chains for you. How important
that's huge.
Is that?
It's like, like a whole year. It's just a tremendous advantage because the light turns on with a guy, especially if you got a guy like this kid Jurgens who is paying attention. He's a student of the game, playing the center position. He knows he's got to make a lot of calls and things. And they said he was ready to play last year. They thought he was ready to play. So he's got a huge advantage over the other kid because he's not only learning what he's got to do at his position, he knows what everybody's got to do. He's that smart of a kid, and I think he utilizes that to his advantage to win that job. And the thing about him, he's not somebody who's going to just be overempowering people, though, but he's a great athlete. He's bigger than Jason Kelsey, but he's close to being that level of an athlete, see. He's a very good athlete. Yeah.
Who do you think starts at defensive tackle next to Fletcher? Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis?
They'll be off. They'll probably let Jordan maybe start some, but I think that Jalen is ahead of Jordan, though. He's just a complete player.
Who would you rather see start the season against New England, Carter or
Carter?
Davis?
Yeah, Carter. He's just got, just out there, just a little, seeing him a little bit. You go like, this kid's quick. He's quicker than Jordan Davis. He's strong and powerful and everything. And then I've seen him from looking at the tape of him. He can run you over. So he got that power move, but he's got the speed, man. I mean, this kid could go out and play defensive end. He's that versatile. And that's why a lot of people, thought he was the best player. If it was just talking about player, they thought he was the best player in the draft because he's got all of that potential. And he hasn't even touched, as he learns and he's in here competing against the Eagles offensive line all the time, he's going to do nothing but get better and better. And he's going to learn a lot, and these guys are going to be teaching him. So I expect him, to see more of him because he's a complete player already.
Where do you think Nolan Smith fits into the rotation for edge rushers? And do you think they'll use 4 Or will they use 5 like they did a year ago when it comes to rotation? They like rotating their guys a lot.
Yeah.
They rotated the guys a lot last year. Do you think that they'll condense it more down to 4 and have Smith as that 4th guy? Or do you think they'll put him at the 5th to bring him along? How do you see him in the rotation?
You know, he seems like he's got the jets coming around the corner, and the big tackles do not like a guy who's going to come with that speed, and he's so low to the ground. He's a lot, you know, like Hassan Reddick. He does a lot of the same moves, and he's going to be able to learn a lot from him because they're similar body types and athletes. Where, you know, and then he's even faster. So I think he's going to find a way to, you know, they're going to want to get him on the field. Now, what they could do, see, is because he's such a good athlete, they could ask him to play some other positions too. See that, find a way to get him on the field. So I think they will be looking for ways to find a way to get him on the field. To really,
Sam or Will?
Yeah, Sam or Will, and to stress teams because he can come at any time. You know, you could have him lining up there, and he's coming off that corner. You know, so I could see them, you know, putting in some different things because this coach, I think, is going to like that. He's going to see all of the people that he has that can rush the passer. And with the athleticism of Smith, I think they'll probably do some different things with him that they haven't done with other guys because he's such a good athlete. You know, you would have no problem having him cover the back, you know, and rush. So they don't know, is he coming? Is he rushing? So I could see them doing some things and tweaking some of their defenses to let him on the field with, like, let's say a special defense or so with him on there, giving the offense another look, you know, on third downs and things. So I could see them finding ways to get him on the field because I think he's probably going to impress them enough to where we need to find a way to get this kid on the field a little more. But he will be in the rotation, I think.
Let me throw a suggestion at you here and disagree or agree with it. But, you know, I got to say, I think the best position for Nicholas Morrow might be the Mike backer because of his experience that he's had in the game. And so this leads me to ask you this. Do you truly believe that Nakobe Dean is a Mike linebacker, or is he more of a Will linebacker? Because, again, Garry, man, you're asking this guy to not just be a great player and to take up for 160 tackles, but you're asking him also to be the quarterback on that side of the ball. And you know, and I tell people this, what's the biggest thing that you have when you make that transition from the college game to the pro game? And you know this as well as I do, Garry, you're slow. And the reason you're slow is because things you're doing that you've never done before in college, you're thinking about technique, you're thinking about not getting minuses. So you're always kind of chasing in a way until the game slows down to you. And my point is, why not keep the game fast for the kid and keep him in a position of success? Because if you put him at that mic, I mean, I'm not saying he can't play it. I'm just saying you're asking a lot from him.
A lot of things to think about. Now, I've had that same question, but I've talked to the kid. In fact, I was at an appearance and got a chance to talk to him just this weekend. We're sitting there talking. Kid's a smart kid, okay? This kid is majored in engineering, you know. He's a bright kid. And he's a bright football guy.
So that means he can process the information quick.
I think so. And this is what he was doing in college. And even at one of the news conferences, I asked him, I said, you know, Nakobe, what's the difference in the offenses and the things you're seeing on the pro level that you didn't see on the college level? And he started breaking it down. And so he was thinking about this last year, see? So he's a smart kid. That's the thing. He's a very smart kid. And he's a football smart guy. You know how you got some guys that are smart, but football, you're going like, what are you, stupid? You know, he's got the common sense. He's got football intelligence. So I think he'll be able to handle it because this is what he was doing in college. And, you know, we were talking and, you know, I think he has an idea about formations. He knows how important they are to know what people like to do at a certain formation. That formation has a personality. What is it? What do they like to do? And so he understands the game. So I think he'll be able to handle it. And he is. I would circle him as saying the most important player on the defense.
Absolutely, I would totally go there.
Because with them asking him to do what you just talked about, they're asking him to do, step in there, and he hasn't played a lot, so he's stepping in from college to pro with all the things, like you said. There's so many things.
Gary, they're not even asking him to be better than the guy a year ago. They're asking him to equal the guy from a year ago.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, but to make it easier for him and to make it easier on everybody else, since there's so many Georgia guys, do you think you'll see some of the defensive schemes and some of the defensive fronts and some of the defensive things that they did? Because remember, they did interview the Georgia defensive coordinator for the coordinating job. Mm-hmm. So there is a sense of understanding of what they're doing in Athens.
Yeah.
Would they make, because what you want to try to do is do the things that make these kids successful. So like you just said, maybe some of the shit they did in college, they have a fundamental in the NFL in the scheme. Could you see Decide doing things like that?
Well, I could see some of that because from talking to Nakobe, see, they did some things that were pro. They saw pro looks.
Yeah.
They ran pro defenses against it, especially like, and they were able to see a lot of that. See, because
they've got pro fronts. That Georgia defense ran a lot of pro fronts.
That's right. That's what he said. See, so some of it wasn't much of a change for him. And he's a smart football player, So that's the key is not everybody would be able to handle this. But from talking to him, he's got a good grasp of it. And he said, and then they were talking, and really this is some of the coaches, they felt confident about him last year because he had a great understanding of things. The kid is a smart football player. So, and they asked a lot of him in college where they had him changing everybody. He had to know what everybody had to do, and so he's used to that. I think he'll be ready for it. And as I said, he is the most important defensive player, if you ask me, because I don't know that Moreau can do what you just said. I don't know that he has.
I agree. I'm just going by his knowledge of the game.
Yeah. See, and because Moreau was saying that he had never been pushed to know as much about down and distance and all the details and things from just what they were doing this offseason. He said that's the most that they've done, and so he was being pushed mentally then. So I think Nakobe's ahead of him because, he dealt with a lot of the same offense last year. I mean, the same defense last year. He has a good understanding of it. And I think he's going to be ready to go now. We'll see how he does, because he is a very important player for them. I'd say one of the most important players on the team this year for what they need, because they need him to step in there and play like he's been there 3 years.
Absolutely. Gary, last question for you here. I throw this out here, and I think people think that, it's great clickbait, it's great conversation here, but so Pro Football Focus came out with the top 50 players in the NFL, and Hurts is not on it.
Yeah.
And the week prior to that, they had the 10 most clutch quarterbacks on CBS. He's not on that.
Yeah.
CBS also had one where the top 25 and under, he's not on that.
Yeah.
NFL.com had a list. He's not on that. I mean, is it disrespect, or that they're just looking at him and saying this? He's only had one good season. And for me to consider him to be one of the better players in this league, doesn't he have to do it more consistently? Or do you think they really just have this narrative about him that they look at him and say, hey, he's an A-plus guy. His game is good.
Yeah.
But his game, I mean, look at the quarterbacks they ranked on this top Pro Football Focus. And why I tell people this is important, because when people go on Sundays, this is Collinsworth's site, when they go to Sunday Night Football and they see that column there and they don't see Hurts' name on it, the perception is the league doesn't promote him. And they don't see him in that light. They got Mahomes 1, Burrow 2 or 10.
Yep.
Josh Allen 12, Justin Herbert, number 35. Lamar Jackson, who missed almost the whole half season last year.
That's right.
Number 41. And they got Rodgers at number 45.
Yeah.
And no Jalen Hurts. How
That's
do you look at all that?
Well, I could understand some of their arguments. They say he only did it 1 year. Yet you could make that argument and everything. And he did have a great year, and he did show, tremendous increase from the year before and everything. So I don't have
but Gary, then they put Sauce Gardner on there who had 1 year. He's on that list.
You're right. I personally think they're taking shots at the Eagles fans, if you ask me, really, because they know it's going to rev a lot of people up. But I tell you, the other person that's going to rev up is Jalen Hurts. And the kid likes to use that, be motivation. And I know he's going to find out about it and everything. And I think all it's going to do is push him to be better. That's the way he's reacted to this all the way. I think it's just going to push him to be better. He's coming in hungry. And I tell you, the whole group, I got to admit, just from talking to, they got a hungry team. They were not happy the way things ended last year. They want to go back. Now they got to put in the work and they got to go out and do it. But they got a team with that mentality. And Jalen, man, with this stuff, all it's doing is it's just fueling his fire. And I think that they're going to be ready to play. And it's going to be a fun year, another year. And they want to go back and finish. I hear the guys saying they got unfinished business. That's what they said. We got unfinished business. So that's all this is doing, is adding to that. They're just throwing all this coal on the fire, see?
Hey, Gary, as you go to camp tomorrow, I want you to think of this. So now the players get to go with a beach towel. They get to go with a beach umbrella, a beach chair. They get to sit there, people holding the umbrellas over their head because it's too sunny. They don't want anybody to sweat too hard out there.
That's right.
I mean, it's like going to summer camp.
Yeah.
And hey, dude, seriously, this is like going to summer camp up in the Catskills. I mean, you're not going to training camp anymore, dude. This ain't training camp. It's like summer camp at Catskills.
Well, of course, it's not what we went through, but it's what they do. And I can tell you, though, the guy that is the leader of this team, that Jalen Hurts, kid is ready. He says, they're ready to go. So we're going to find out. All right,
I want to put you on the spot. You think they make it back to the NFC title game?
Yeah, I think so. I do. Yeah, I think
conviction.
Yeah, I think they do. I think you got a hungry squad. And around here, all the guys were around here, and then just this team. They were not happy. Now, how many places you think they can go without somebody saying, "Oh man, you guys should have won that game"? Blah blah blah. How much have they heard that? I think that they are hungry, and it's just a matter of them playing against themselves. They got a tougher schedule and everything, but I think they'll be fine.
I didn't ask you this.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask. We had a topic late last week. Let me close with this one with you. In 30 years, Jeffrey Lurie has one Super Bowl, and he's got numerous appearances in the NFC title game.
Yep.
He's got 2 NFC championship rings, 3 NFC championship rings, and a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the owner of the Eagles has over or underachieved since he's owned the team? By the way, he's going into his 30th year.
Yeah.
Do you think Jeffrey Lurie – be careful what you say because Bob Lang watches this pitch.
Yeah, it's fine. I think he's overachieved because they've been in the dance. All you can do is you got to have the players to be able to get you in where you're in the hunt, and they've been in the hunt. They haven't.
You're happy with one Super Bowl?
No, not happy with that. But doggone it, they've been there knocking on the door. And I think ultimately it's the players that get you in. See, all the people that are on the outside that are putting together the best team they can is put enough a group good enough to where you can be one of the top teams. Then it's the players who have got to make the plays with it on the line, and they take you to the dance. It's got to be the players that do it. So I look at the all of the GM and owner and all those guys. their job is to put the best team they can out there, and the players got to take it to the next level.
All right, let me expand on this one then. So do you believe that Jalen Hurts over or underachieved a year ago?
Did he over or underachieve? I would probably say, man, that's a tough question there.
Wait till you hear the second one to it. There's a part two to this.
That's tough to say. You know, he made a huge jump. I mean, I haven't seen many guys make the jump he made.
Agreed.
So I'd have to say over. You know, I mean, if he plays near that this year, you know, they're going to have a great year.
How about this? If he does exactly what he did a year ago and they fall short again, then you're saying he underachieved.
Yeah, I would have to say
if he doesn't win it this year, he underachieves, right?
I expect him to play a little better this year. I think he's going to be. I expect a little better. I mean, I think he's going. You know, when they get to those, you know, like the Super Bowl. I mean, and you know what? I can't really say it's him. I think the whole team can play better. The defense, especially, they were the ones that lost that game. If you ask me, it wasn't Jalen. If you play as well as he did in the Super Bowl, even with the turnover, defense shows up, you win the game. Come on. They give up 31 points. Come on. You don't give 38 points up. Defense, somebody make a play. No turnovers. I'm sorry. Defense takes the L. They were the ones didn't show up. If he plays the way he played last year and the defense shows up in the Super Bowl, you win the game. Come on. You scored 35 points.
Some of the media people in Philly, they got the hot seats out already in September.
I know.
You better win some ball games this year.
Right.
And I mean, the game.
Yeah.
You got a lot. Is there more expectations on this team, Gary, than there was on the 2018 team?
Yes, without a doubt. The 2018 was a surprise. It shocked a lot of people.
I mean the year after the Super Bowl.
The year after the Super Bowl? Yes,
I would think they were going back the following year.
I don't think it was as I probably would say there's more pressure on this team.
Oh.
Yeah, I probably would say that, yeah. Because it was satisfied. Everybody was still celebrating. People were still celebrating.
People were still doing victory laps.
That's right. They were. People were still celebrating when the next season started. You're right. Because it was come on, all these years, never had won it. They won it. A lot of people still celebrating. It's not like that now. People were not happy with the way that thing ended. I mean, I couldn't even hardly get on the plane on the way back. People, I'm like, God, I'm going, relax. So I think there's more pressure on this team.
Hey, man, have a fun time at camp tomorrow. I appreciate it. It's going to be very interesting to see how this thing plays out. Thank you so much, my friend.
All right.
You got it. That is the great Garry Cobb. Appreciate him coming aboard here. Once we won the Super Bowl, I got greedy. I need more Super Bowls. Now, that's how I told you last week. That's how Yankee fan is. Oh, won the World Series? Great. What do you think this is here? One and done? What do you think? We're Peyton Manning? What do you think? This is the Cubs? The Yankees aren't the Cubs. Oh, we got our title. We're the Yankees. We win these things. We buy our talent. We buy Babe, Reggie, whomever. Everyone thinks that the Yankees have been buying people. Well, the Yankees have to buy them. They've been buying it since the 20s. And nothing's changed. And you know what, too? And guys in Philly go like this. We got homegrown. Do you? Hit the like button. Keep it here on